Now that I start to lay out my leather onto my fabric, I'm always going to lay out the bigger pieces first. So I want to go through and lay those large pieces on first and then work my smaller pieces around. Leather has no grain. Leather is not, it has no weft, it has no warp, therefore it has no grain, it has no bias. I can put these pieces on this leather however I want. So when I look at it, I simply say, do I like a certain color in a certain place? With ostrich, you know, they had the little eyes and I wanted more eyes in the collar area. That's really what I'm going to consider. I'm going to consider more the print, because in this particular case, this is an all-over print. I really don't have any considerations to make. And this is another reason why I think it's a great beginner leather, simply because I could mark it and scuff it. You'd never know. You'd never even be able to see it. So then I went through and I created all my pattern pieces twice. Because with leather, again, you're not cutting 2 layers at a time. You're literally cutting each layer separately. So to make sure that I cut each piece, I duplicated my pieces. So each piece here, I have 2 of. And I did them opposite of each other. So if I put the writing up, I will get 2 opposite pieces. So let me just make sure you understand that. I've got 2 fronts, but if you notice, there's a right front and a left front. So I can lay those down with the writing up, knowing that I've got 2 of the correct pieces. But what you can't do is take a piece and turn it down, because then you'll have 2 of the same side. So I would totally recommend that when you're first working with leather, duplicate all of your pieces, or else go through and buy 2 patterns, whatever's easier for you. Duplicate all your pieces, make sure all your writing goes up, so that as I manipulate my pieces to see if I have enough yardage, I can literally put them any direction I want. I can fudge them. I can't turn that over though, because that means I'll create 2 of those, so I can't do that. But as long as my writing's up, I can go through and lay that any which way they'll fit. Lay your larger pieces first and then work to your smaller pieces, because the smaller pieces can kind of go up into any corner. I don't need to use pins. It's not necessary. A lot of people freak out that they can't use pins. You can use pins. I'm going to show you that you can later. But even if this were fashion fabric, if you've listened to any of my other DVDs, you know I don't use pins in cutting out. Just use weights. Use whatever you have, come along, weigh it down, and then cut around the leather. Do what's called a cross cut. You want to cut in one direction, and then instead of leaving your scissors down and turning the direction, I literally want to come in from a different direction. Cross your cutting. That way it'll just be much more accurate. So I don't need any pins. I want to use all of my leather, lay out all of my pieces before I start cutting. Don't make the mistake of saying, oh, you know what? I've got plenty. I'll just go ahead and start cutting. Just take it from someone who's done it. Don't do it. Lay out all your pieces first, and it's very easy.